There has never been and never will be another person exactly like you. That's not a poetic exaggeration. It's a divine reality. You are not an accident. You are not a coincidence. You are not a product of random chance or biological luck. You were intentionally designed and purposely sent into this world by the Creator of the universe. Before you took your first breath, God had already written out the blueprints of your life. Before your eyes opened, His eyes were fixed on you, not with judgment, but with love and intention. There is a task, a mission, a piece of heaven's agenda that required your specific voice, your specific gifting, your unique soul. But here's the tragedy. Most people never discover it. They live, but never really live. They breathe, eat, work, sleep, and yet miss the very reason they were created. Too many people go through life like it's a burden, not a calling. They clock into jobs they hate, sit through conversations that feel hollow, serve expectations that were never theirs to carry. They die with dreams buried deep within them, not because they lacked talent or potential, but because they never found their why. The greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's reaching the end of your days without ever knowing why you lived. Without purpose, life becomes a grind. Without vision, existence feels vague. You may be busy, but busyness is not destiny. Motion is not meaning. You can be surrounded by noise and still feel painfully empty. You were never meant to live without clarity. You were not designed to merely survive. You were born to fulfill a divine assignment, crafted long before the foundations of the earth. In Jeremiah 1:5, God declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Think about that. You were known before you were even formed. You were set apart before your body existed. That means your purpose is older than your birth certificate. You don't find your identity by looking around, you find it by looking above. And in Ephesians 2:10, Paul writes, "For we are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." You are not generic. You are a masterpiece, a one-of-a-kind expression of God's imagination, and those good works, they were already scheduled for you, pre-planned, tailor-made, not mass-produced. So why do we struggle to believe it? Because somewhere along the way, we've allowed the world to define us instead of our Creator. We let test scores, job titles, Instagram likes, and broken relationships tell us who we are. We've traded truth for opinion, destiny for survival, eternal calling for temporary comfort. And the pain of that trade shows up in our souls, in our burnout, our confusion, our cycles of self-doubt. Because deep down, we know, I was made for more than this. One of the fastest ways to miss your purpose is to try to live someone else's. There will always be someone who seems smarter, richer, more charismatic, more successful than you. But their calling is not your calling. Their design is not your design. God custom built you for a task only you can fulfill. That's why comparison is a trap. It turns originals into copies. And God never called you to be a copy. He called you to be a revelation. Stop asking the world who you are. Start asking the one who made you. Psalm 139 verse 16 says, "All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Before your first heartbreak, before your biggest failure, before your greatest sin, God already saw all of it and still said, "Yes, the world needs them." Let that truth sink in. You were chosen, despite being fully known. Here's something wild. God always starts with the end in mind. He begins where we finish. Isaiah 46:10 says, "I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come. I say, my purpose will stand. That means he didn't start your life and then figure out what to do with you. He finished your purpose first, then started you. So your job isn't to create a calling, it's to discover the one that already exists. You were not born empty. You were born with embedded divine intention. God's plan for you won't make sense until you surrender to the one who wrote it. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path." Trust means letting go of your version of success, letting go of fear, letting go of control. It means saying, "God, I'm tired of writing my own script. You take the pen." When you do, something amazing happens. Your desires begin to change. What once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. The steps become clearer, the fog lifts, and you begin walking with divine precision. Once you know why you're here, everything changes. You stop wasting energy on meaningless pursuits. You stop attaching your worth to shallow validation. You stop running in circles trying to be everything for everyone. You focus. You sharpen. You step boldly into the reason God put you on this planet. And you begin to realize the greatest adventure of your life is discovering what God can do through you. He doesn't need perfection. He needs permission. The moment you give God full access, purpose begins to move through you like electricity through a wire. It animates your words. It gives weight to your actions. It sharpens your focus. No longer do you chase empty applause or try to fit into spaces you were never built for. You stop asking, "What do people expect from me?" and start asking, "God, what did you design me to become?" This shift isn't subtle. It's seismic. It's the moment your life transitions from wandering to walking with intent. Your days gain momentum. Even your struggles start to make sense, because now you understand they've been preparing you. Nothing has been wasted. Not the pain, not the silence, not the confusion. All of it has been part of the preparation for your assignment. And yes, there is an assignment. Not a random journey through circumstances, but a divine deployment into time and space. You were born in this generation for a reason. Your gifts, your background, your voice, it's all part of a holy strategy. You could have been born in another century, another family, another place. But you weren't. God knew that now was the moment history would need you most. Don't underestimate how specific God is. Look at the way He crafted the stars, numbered the hairs on your head, and set the boundaries of oceans. That same intentionality was woven into your life. And when God designs, He doesn't make extras. He doesn't create fillers. Every person He forms with purpose. Even Jesus, when He walked the earth, moved with this divine clarity. He said, "I only do what I see the Father doing." His entire mission flowed from intimacy with the Father and alignment with His purpose. And we are called to live the same way. We are not here to build our own kingdoms, but to reveal His. But purpose is never discovered in comfort. You won't find it in shallow waters or familiar routines. You find it when you step out. When you walk into the unknown with trembling faith and relentless trust. It's in the wilderness that Moses heard the call. It's in exile that David was anointed. It's in isolation that Joseph's dreams began to unfold. Your purpose may be hiding in the very thing you've been trying to escape. If you're waiting to feel ready, you'll wait forever. The purpose isn't about feeling qualified, it's about being willing. God's greatest vessels were often the least likely on paper. A stuttering shepherd, a teenage girl, a fisherman, a tax collector. God doesn't call the flawless, He calls the faithful. Because when He moves through someone who's surrendered, His power becomes unmistakable. People look at your life and know this can't be human effort alone. They see grace where there should be bitterness, joy where there should be despair. confidence where there used to be insecurity. That's what purpose does. It rewrites your story. It redeems what you thought was lost. It reframes every setback as a setup for something greater. And the beauty of divine purpose is that it doesn't expire with your mistakes. Failure doesn't cancel your calling. God doesn't need perfect history to build a holy legacy. In fact, some of the most powerful purposes is birthed in places of brokenness. Your deepest wounds may become your most powerful ministry. The very thing you thought disqualified you might be the key to unlocking someone else's freedom. But you must decide. Will you live for the temporary or for eternity? Will you chase what fades or pursue what lasts? Will you settle for survival or step into significance? The world will offer you shortcuts, fame without impact, influence without substance, attention without transformation, but only purpose gives you peace. Only purpose can carry you through the storms, the delays, the criticism, and the questions. Because when you know that you're walking in your divine assignment, you don't crumble when people misunderstand you. You don't quit when the fruit is slow. You endure. You press on. Because your reward is not just applause. It's obedience. It's faithfulness. Jesus didn't die so you could live a safe life. He died so you could live a full one. And fullness only comes through purpose. A life poured out, a soul awakened, a heart aligned with heaven's rhythm. If you're still breathing, it's not too late. If your heart is still beating, then your calling is still active. You haven't missed it. You haven't disqualified yourself. You're not too far gone. That desire burning in your chest, that ache for meaning, that is heaven whispering, come back to why you were born. This world is desperate for people who live with purpose, not popularity, not perfection, but passion is rooted in truth. Our cities don't need more noise. They need voices marked by eternity. They need believers who walk into rooms carrying light, not just opinions, who carry peace, not performance, who live not to be impressive, but to be impactful. And that can be you. Not someday. Not when you have it all figured out, but today, right now. Start where you are. Use what you have. Trust God to do what only He can do. He's not looking for someone with a flawless resume. He's looking for someone who will say yes. Because when you say yes to your purpose, the ripple effects go beyond anything you can measure. Generations are impacted. Chains are broken. Hope is restored. Heaven touches earth through you. So, no more hiding, no more shrinking, no more pretending you don't matter. You were formed with purpose, breathed into existence with holy intention. And nothing this world says or does can erase what God has spoken over your life. Walk boldly, love deeply, obey faithfully, and never forget this truth. You were born on purpose, for purpose. That is who you are. That is why you're still here. Now go and live it.